I'm here in the Canadian Rockies heading out on a winter camping trip during what is forecasted to be a pretty intense winter storm. It may not look like it right now. It's relatively calm, pretty warm, and there's even a little bit of sun poking out through the clouds there. But within the next few hours, that's supposed to change in a big way. We're supposed to get over a foot of snow tonight. Temperatures are supposed to drop to minus 25 degrees Celsius, and winds are going to pick up to over 50 kilometers an hour. I'm going to be heading down this creek here. I'm not going to be camping near my car, so everything that I need in order to survive this blizzard is on my back. I found the spot where I'm going to camp tonight. Kind of right in here is where I'm going to set my tent up. I went a little bit further, scouting it out, but it starts to open up a little bit more, and I want to be as protected from the wind as I can. That's one of the considerations for this trip. Like I said, wind, cold, and snow are going to be big factors as this blizzard rolls in. When I was first planning this trip, I was actually going to camp on top of this ridge up here, but once I saw the forecast, I changed that plan very quickly. The tent that I brought with me definitely would be able to handle the wind that you would see on top of a ridge, and I'm kind of just hoping that it's able to handle the wind down here as well as the snow that we're supposed to see tonight. I got camp mostly set up by my little sitting area / cook spot over there. Got my tent right here. I am in a pretty good spot to deal with that wind factor that's coming with the blizzard. I have trees on 3 sides really strongly, and then on this side, there's not that many trees. So if the wind does start coming from that direction, I might be in a little bit of trouble. The temperature is starting to drop. It's not too bad right now, about minus 6 degrees Celsius, 20 degrees Fahrenheit, but the snow has definitely started. As forecasted, it was supposed to start kind of early evening and then pick up over the course of the night, with peak snowfall kind of happening around that midnight time frame. I brought a tent that I haven't tried out in this kind of snowfall before. This is the Mountain Equipment Co-op Spark 1.0. Mexican-Canadian company. They make some really good products, but they do ship internationally, and you get to take advantage of that exchange rate. This tent's not made for winter necessarily, and the thing that really kind of has me questioning how it's going to do tonight is this flat top. This is potentially going to collect a lot of snow, and it doesn't have a lot of sturdiness to it. So hopefully there's enough angle here that the snow just kind of sloughs off. Otherwise, I may be waking up in the middle of the night trying to knock snow off so that I don't get the tent collapsing on me. Before it starts snowing too much, I want to share with you guys the sleep system that I'm going to be using in order to stay warm as it gets down to minus 25 degrees Celsius tonight. On the bottom, I'm using the Thermarest X-Therm sleeping pad. So this is the new NXT version. It's new for 2023, has an R-value bump up to 7.3, which makes an already insanely warm sleeping pad just that much better. When temperatures start getting really cold, there's really no other sleeping pad that I'm going to trust other than the X-Therm. For the sleeping bag, I'm keeping it simple with the Thermarest Polar Ranger. This is a super warm sleeping bag and has some great features like this snorkel on the top in order to keep a little warm pocket of air around your face and to direct moisture away from you and your sleeping bag. It also includes some arm vents on here, which is really nice. You can stick your arms out and do some activities around the tent, like hold your phone and read a book, or just kind of like get some things ready as you're getting ready in the morning or going to bed. For the pillow, no surprise probably, I'm using the Trekology 2.0. It's my favorite pillow, and that's what I brought on this trip. I'm using a new down parka on this trip. This is made by Decathlon. It has box baffling, and for a jacket that's this warm, it has box baffling. It's very inexpensive. I just put it on and I'm already really toasty. This thing is insanely warm. I got really jealous when Kane had this jacket on the 3-day loop that we did earlier this winter. It looked really warm and had a lot of great features I really liked, including these chest pockets here, which just makes storing things that you want to keep warm a little bit easier. I'll have links in the video description to all of the gear that I'm using on this trip. I definitely know that I'm going to get questions about things like this jacket, probably that tent, as well as things like the skis that I'm using to get here. These are ski shoes from Decathlon. They're kind of like cross-country skis, a little bit shorter, a little bit fatter, but you can use regular winter boots with them. I'm using the Salomon Tundra Pros winter boots. These things are insanely warm, and they just fit into the regular binding that you have on these ski shoes. They're really cool and awesome for winter where you are going through a lot of snow, because you can move a lot faster than on snowshoes, and they float a lot better than snowshoes as well. I went pretty lightweight for this setup. My entire pack weighed about 20 pounds with food and water, and part of the reason why I was able to go so light is because I'm using a new pack from Hyperlay. This is their ski-specific pack. It looks small, and they advertise it, I think, around 40 liters, but I was able to fit a ton of gear. That sleeping bag that's in there is pretty bulky. This is the first trip that I've used the pack, so I'm still kind of figuring out its nuances, but I'm really liking it as a potential pack for 1 to 2 night trips where I'm going pretty lightweight and trying to move fast. The snow is really starting to come down. As forecasted, the forecast called for the snow to be picking up a little bit right around sunset, which is right now. So all signs are pointing towards us getting the blizzard that was forecasted, which has me a little bit excited, a little bit worried. A little bit worried about this tent, most of all. I think I'll be fine for warmth. The wind might be a pretty big factor, but again, that comes down to the tent. Whether this tent can handle the wind and the snow is something that we're going to have to see. I don't really have a game plan if the tent starts to fail. I'm kind of just hoping that if the snow accumulates a lot, I can just keep knocking it off, and that's going to allow the tent to stay standing. If it gets really windy, I'm not as worried. I think this tent should be good in the wind, and I have a little bit of a wall to protect me, and I can always get out of the tent and build that wall up a little bit more. So hopefully no issues. We'll see. So you might be wondering why I get excited and I get out here on backpacking and camping trips when there's extreme weather warnings, when there's blizzards forecast to come about, because yeah, for a lot of people, that's when they start staying home, start hunkering down on their couch, watching some TV. But I love it out here, especially when the conditions are kind of pushing my limits a little bit. It's not very often that you can get out camping, go to bed with a light dusting of snow, and then wake up completely buried. It's a really cool feeling. It's challenging. There's a lot of challenges involved with it, especially in the morning. Once you wake up, that's not the end of it. You still have to get out, and that can be a whole nother challenge in and of itself. The sun is starting to set. I'm going to get into my tent shortly here, get nice and cozy. If things start going sideways, then you might get an update from me over the course of the night. Otherwise, we'll see how much snow fell when we check in the morning. Good morning. It's still snowing. It snowed quite a bit last night, probably pretty close to the foot that was forecast. My tent's pretty buried right now, but it held up. I'm pretty happy that it didn't collapse on me in the middle of the night. You can see there's a lot of snow that accumulated on top as well as on the sides, but it still held its structure really well, partly due to the silt poly material that it's made out of. The wind picked up a little bit around midnight last night, but didn't get nearly as strong as was forecasted. I don't know if that's because I'm in a really sheltered area right here, kind of as planned, or if just the forecast was a little bit off. When I was going to bed, temperatures were pretty warm. It wasn't too bad, but they dropped pretty quickly and probably hit the low around 2, 3 a.m. And I had to kind of really bundle up inside my sleeping bag, make sure all the cinches were closed so that no cold air was getting in. But as expected, I was nice and toasty warm inside that sleep system. That sleeping pad and that sleeping bag are top notch. I'm always going to be bringing those when I know the temperatures are going to be getting cold. It's still snowing pretty hard. If anything, it picked up since I woke up. So we'll see how much snow we get throughout the day. There's a lot of snow sloughing off of the cliffs over there and off of trees. That was something that I kept in mind when I was picking my campsite location. I didn't want to be in a heavily treed area because as snow accumulates on those branches, it eventually falls off in what's called tree bombs. And those tree bombs are a lot of very dense, heavy snow, and they can level a tent. I've been hit by one, a little small one, and it actually hurt. I felt like I dislocated my shoulder when it got me. I dug out my tent and my little living room here because I have a pretty delicious breakfast this morning. It's a yogurt bowl from Bush's Kitchen, who makes my favorite dinners and freeze-dried meals. So excited to try that out and see how it is. Get me ready to go to bust through all this snow as I get back to my car. We got a kind of 2.5 of the big obstacles that we were supposed to get hit with, but between picking the right gear and location, everything went really smoothly, and I get to enjoy this really beautiful location during a winter wonderland storm. If you like these kind of extreme weather condition winter camping trips, then go check out this video right up here. I go out in minus 40 degrees Celsius, but it was a little bit humid, so it felt a lot colder. Definitely the coldest that I've ever been out in, and it was a challenge.